Vishnu Nam Das. Vishnu Nam Das is an ISKCON member since 1999. He completed his chartered accountant and worked in corporates for 12 years. Thereafter, he joined ISKCON Ahmedabad in 2011 and served as a full-time vice president till 2020. In 2018, he was inspired by cows and environment and did lots of research on how Vedic life and is self-sustaining and is connected to the environment and cows. He is working intensively on Talasari farm, ISKCON Juhu, ISKCON Ahmedabad farm, and ISKCON Kanpur farm. He has deep knowledge of management, farming, crop protection, and agriculture, farm community development, and pedology. He is doing various seminars on cows and Vedic culture and our connection to Mother Earth. Currently, he is serving as co-ministry of cow protection and agriculture for ISKCON and also secretary of ISKCON India Advisory Committee. I'm sure the talk by Vishnu Nam Das will be an exciting one, and it will remove a lot of misunderstanding goes in common media nowadays. Over to you, Vishnu Nam Das.
Thank you very much. My special thanks to the organizers for arranging such a wonderful session in the much needed time. So generally, when we think about the prosperity of a nation, what strikes our mind is GDP. So generally we see GDP as an indicator of prosperity, but because this forum is a different forum where spirituality, simplicity and sustainability are discussed, so it gave me an idea to discuss about how Vedic systems or Vedic text were speaking about prosperity. So we have titled the presentation as Happiness of Cows as Indicator of Prosperity. As Srila Prabhupada, our founder Acharya, has mentioned also in most of the instructions given for cows is that we need to keep the cows happy if we have to have a happy planet. So my special thanks to organizers because this title forced me to think about this context. This context has come about just by your help because your view of environmental protection and sustainability and simplicity could only bring up this paper before us. So I would like to read the context. So my whole presentation is centered around this context where we want stable families living peaceful lives in prosperity and physical security while free to pursue our spiritual or religious beliefs. We want adequate, nutritious food and clean water with time for family, friends and community and leisure for cultural and other pursuits. We want real education that ensures real wealth and health in balanced lives. All of the above to be ensured for many, many generations to come on the foundation of ethical and human behavior to all life, regenerating soils and biologically diverse communities on Earth's land and in our rivers, lakes and oceans. So this is what I'm going to speak about, that we want to, this is our goal, this is our context, this is what we are targeting to live our life with. So here is a Vedic indicator for quality of life. It says Swasti Prajabhya. So may there be well-being to all the beings. Paripalayantam Nyayena Margena Mahim Mahesha. So may the kings rule the earth along the right path. The most important point here is Prajabhyam, seeing all the beings as prajas, not only humans. When we talk about a good life, we are talking about all the living beings, not only humans. So now the next line is very important. Go Brahmanebhya. So may the cows and Brahmins have well-being forever. So these are two special species spoken here. So Brahmins are the wise class who are advising the king how to run the administration, and cows. So cows, as our title says, we have to make them happy, which will be followed in the presentation. So they are the most two important species spoken here in this shloka. And may all beings in all the worlds become happy. Peace, peace, and peace be everywhere. So what does it mean? So ultimately what we want is the birthright of every, sorry. The birthright of everybody is to have good health. This law is true for soil, plant, animal, and man. The health of these four is one connected chain. So we are not disconnected. As the chart shows, healthy landscapes leads to healthy food and healthy food and fiber leads to healthy animals, and then healthy people, profits, healthy planet. This is all a connected chain. We can't handle this otherwise. As a result, what we see right now is because we have taken wrong decisions, despite of all the good policies made by the governments, institutions, environmentalists, we see that our world is living with this elephant. This elephant signifies hunger, malnutrition, migration, disease, pollution, refugees, land degradation, climatic change, droughts, floods, scarcity, fires, all these problems which we don't like to discuss even. But unfortunately, this elephant has entered our society. So the bitter expression of Kali on the cows are cited in this verse in the Vedas, which is from Srimad Bhagavatam. It explains that although the cow is beneficial, because one can draw religious principle from her. So basically, cow is to draw religious principle. She was now rendered poor and calfless. So cow and calf were separated. Her legs were being beaten by an uncivilized person, so the caretaker was not intelligent. There were tears in her eyes, and she was distressed and weak. She was hankering after some grass in the field. So she was fed. She has been fed now, but she is hankering for grass in the field. So she wanted back the pasturing field, the grazing grounds, which Sri Krishna wanted for her. So these are the three problems which are making the cows unhappy. So we are looking at it from the other situation now. These three things has made the cows unhappy. So this is a very important point we have to understand, that what we make and what we manage. So whatever we make is complicated and what we manage is complex. So all technological inventions are man-made. It is a connection of parts, and hence damage of one part leads to stoppage of the equipment. As simple like if you have a motor car and if one part damages, the whole motor car will stop functioning. So if you replace the part, it will start functioning. So that is called complicated. But nature is not like that. Nature is not man-made. You are just managing or orchestrating it. Even by wrong management, it does not stop functioning. Instead, it self-organizes and keeps functioning. Maybe with an unintended consequence. So what we see in the society are all unintended consequences, which means nature is not to be managed in parts, but as a whole. Hence, there is no room for competition in the nature. This is very important point, very important point. So paradigms influence on decision making. Nischay buddhi, as the Shastra says. So we keep taking a lot of decisions on a day-to-day basis to meet a need, to meet a desire, or to solve a problem. Generally, we start with a decision only in these three situations. So our decisions are based on or influenced by the paradigms we own. Unintended consequences shall arise if the decisions are not in line with our context. So context should be always before our eyes. When the context which we presented in the beginning, the quality of life, is not before our eyes, then we will have unintended consequences. Quality of life for all living beings. To solve these unintended consequences, we need to shift from the paradigm that influenced our previous decisions. So there is a time to change the paradigm. So here it is suggested that whatever decision we take should be holistic. We should convert economic, environmental, and social needs of the society. So it is very, very important that simultaneously all these three has to be considered. It cannot be in parts or individual. All three should be handled together. So as we are talking this forum, we want sustainability, but where are we now? We are at a degenerative, at a degraded platform. So first we want to regenerate it. So we have to reach to where we want to be, where we need to be, and then we will talk about sustainability after we reach there. Then we want to be there for always, forever. So our wrong decisions to manage the already developed landscape has led to its degeneration. Hence we need to first regenerate it. So in other words, that creator gave us already a developed landscape. But because of our mismanagement, because of our wrong decisions, we have reached to a state where we are. So now we will understand this from the story of Yudhishthir Maharaj. So in the Bhagavatam, it is said that during the reign of Maharaj Yudhishthira, the clouds showered all the water that people needed, and the earth produced all the necessities of man in profusion. Due to its fatty milk bag and cheerful attitude, the cow used to moisten the grazing ground with the milk. So here the happiness of the cow is the paramount importance. If the cows are happy, you see the grazing ground, the excess milk will be falling on the ground. Even after the calf is with the mother, still she will have excess milk. So the king was seeing all the species in the kingdom as his praja. This is very important point. It is for all the beings. So this is for us. We are beings in the nature. There are no parts, no room for competition or neglect. Currently, all decisions we make do not consider the well-being of the other species. So we are reductionist. We are not holistic. We are reductionist. We just consider human society. So now we have to shift from this paradigm to a newer paradigm, which is human being that is working with the nature, cooperating with the nature. So henceforth, whatever decisions we will make, will consider the well-being of all the other species. So there is a need for paradigm shift from human doing to human being. So this is what Einstein says, we cannot solve our problems with the same thinking we used when we created them. This is Vedic paradigm, you all know, being connected with ISKCON. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. So whatever this personality of Godhead is given is perfect and complete. And because it is perfect and complete, all emanations from him, such as the phenomenal world, are perfectly equipped as complete wholes. It is equipped. You don't have to discover or innovate any tool or technology to equip it. It is already having all the tools and technologies required. Whatever is produced of the complete whole is also complete in itself because he is a complete whole, even though so many complete units emanate from him. He remains the complete balance. As this circle shows, there are many circles within it. They are all working for the common whole. So this is another very, very important point to consider. What are the highlights of this paradigm which we are taking? So our paradigm now says that everything is syntropic. The more you grow, the more resources it generates. This is totally against our current existing paradigm. It says that the more you grow, the more it generates. Increasing population doesn't deplete the resources in the ecosystem, wherein we feel that population is a problem. The resources are available at the site. No need for any inventions. There is no scope for further development. The Creator has given all the resources needed for all the living beings in abundance. There is no difference between farm and farmer as we are beings in the farm. So this is a shloka from Srimad Bhagavatam again, where Narad Muni was instructing Yudhishthira Maharaj about how Supreme Personality of Godhead maintains all the species. This is a translation of that shloka. The natural produce created by Yudhishthira, Supreme Personality of Godhead, should be utilized to maintain the bodies and souls of all living entities. The necessities of life are of three types. So this is discussed about the necessities now. They are produced from the sky, from the earth, and from the atmosphere. So sky, earth, and atmosphere can feed, can keep all the species healthy. This is what this shloka means. So we will consider it now more scientifically, the same thing. So how much of the sunlight, as was talked in the previous shloka, sunlight and rain come from the sky. Air that falls on your landscape have to be harvested. So Yudhishthira Maharaj was expertly doing this. He was ensuring that all the landscapes, not even an inch of a land was bare. It was covered with green cover, living roots. So the basis of life depends on the plant's ability through photosynthesis to convert sunlight energy to edible form. So does every economy, every country and civilization. So all these resources which are provided by nature can be harvested without spillage only and only by plants. And that is, the process is photosynthesis. So this is nature's technology to provide, to feed all the species on this planet. Now, what is photosynthetic capacity? So Yudhishthira Maharaj, as I said, was ensuring that every ray of sun, every drop of water falling on the ground was intercepted by a green leaf. And it was not for a month or 2 or 3, but it was ensured for the whole year. And most importantly, biodiversity. So this was intercepted or infiltrated with the help of diverse plants growing on it. Not a single crop, diversity was there. With how many types of architecture of leaves, because this is all given. We don't have to discover the types of it is all given. So for no civilization, no temples, no institutions, no country can survive without agriculture. So how agriculture manifests is explained in this sloka. From the movement possible by the front hands and hind two legs and the intestinal products of cow, agriculture comes forth. So what is intestinal products? You know, it is cow dung and cow urine. So just by moving the cows, Yudhishthira Maharaj was just ensuring this, that cows are always on the mother earth. They are always moving on the landscape. They were not confined. This is what he was ensuring. So what happens when the dung falls on the pasturing ground? It is rapidly recycled. It is done by earthworms and other soil biotes. More than 1,000 species are waiting for it. From the atmosphere, from the soil, they are readily waiting to convert it into soil and feed on it. But if they are confined, the process is stopped. And then the dung pads are converted to mud pads by bioturbation. As you see here, when the holes falls into the ground, whenever the water will come, it will be infiltrated. So entire rainwater will infiltrate into the soil. There will be no other management system required to store the water, because soil is a natural reservoir of water. This is Krishna's mechanism. This is nature's mechanism. This is human being, not constructing anything else is human being. So, but if the cows are fed with anthelminthic, antibiotic, synthetic minerals, then these dung beetles won't feed on the cow dung and the whole process will be stopped. So we have to depend on the whole natural system. So this shloka says that if throwing away into waste the cow dung and cow urine disfigures the society. Such a person in society that keeps its cows in confinement in their home suffer fall from grace of learned people and gods. So what is the disfigurement? This is the disfigurement. We are living with the elephant. We don't want this elephant for our society. This elephant is only growing bigger. So it is very, very important to keep, as we discussed in the shloka, connecting cows and the land. We have to give pasturing fields to her. And second is connecting cows with the calf. The calf is separated from the mother cow. That has to be re-established. That relation has to be re-established. So now we start with the second part, connecting cow and the calf. Nature's element, the sun, atmospheric airs, and clouds, along with soil, are responsible for the excellent, desirable qualities of milk. So we want excellent quality of milk and excellent quantity. But how to ensure that? So this is explaining again same thing, sun and air, what was spoken in the shloka before. Same thing is repeated here. The natural resources has to be harvested. So the connection between photosynthetic capacity of grazing land and the photosynthetic rate of the grass on the quality and quantity of milk produced by the cow. So only when the cows are feeding on the healthy soil, when the soil is healthy, then the plants will be healthy. And when the plants are healthy, the animals will be healthy. And only then the milk which we get will be a qualitative milk. We don't have to do any process on that milk, because the soil is not healthy. We cannot expect healthy milk. It is not possible. So this is a slide which talks about how we can get healthy milk. So first 3 points says that when the brick count is the count of health nutrition or nutritional value of the plant growing on the healthy soil. So when the brick count is high, then the milk production will be more than the requirement of the calf. So the milk will be in excess. Second is, when the brick count is high, the quality and quantity also is more. So quality is also more, which is again resulting in the calf being satisfied with less milk. And third, when the calf is grazing with the mother and the brick count is high, he would prefer eating grass than drinking the milk. Again, there will be much excess milk left for the society. So only in these 3 cases, we see in a holistic way, keeping the mother cow and the calf happy, we can derive excess milk. In other 2 cases, the calf is sick and the calf is separated, are reductionist theory, what we see existing today. So the milk available for purchase today is milk obtained by separating the calf. So this is not what was practiced at the time of Yudhishthira Maharaj. He was ensuring that all the species, all the living beings are healthy, happy, living with their families, cows most importantly grazing on the field, fertilizing the soil, improving the quality of the soil, increasing the water table, increasing the diversity, ensuring that all the ecosystems are working. she was ensuring all the species are fed. The integration of cow with the land is the most important factor. So here we see that we cannot measure, sorry, if the milk and milk products consumed in a nation comes by the separation of cow and her calf, and by separating the cow and the landscape, it doesn't indicate prosperity in the system. In other words, the GDP needn't be the true indicator of prosperity of a nation. So keeping and see, you can just see this picture. It is so pleasing to the eyes. You know, cows and calf. The family is relaxing. They are doing their work, and it is ensuring that there is prosperity. So yes. So only and only when these cows and the calf are kept together, only and only when the cow is connected to the land, we can ensure the quality of life we wanted. So now we can see if the king has an advisors, a wise people, the Brahmanas, who are instructing them how to manage the earth. Basically, the Kshatriya duty is to protect the earth. That is the main responsibility of a Kshatriya, to protect Mother Earth. So if they ensure to protect Mother Earth by keeping the cows moving on the land always, it ensures health for all the species, well-being for all the species. So the Vedic indicator is keeping the cows happy. So if you see, this is accepted by the science now, where they say that animal integration can only regenerate the soil. They have concluded that this is from the scientific world. At least 3 to 4% of the world land is managed by this principle, and the most important part of this principle is integrating the livestock, which is mother cow. So only by integrating the cows we can put regeneration in place. So this is most important thing. We have to understand this principle. How keeping the cows happy. It is not a sentimental statement. Keeping the cows happy means keeping the whole humanity happy is happening like this because they are grazing. They are not only feeding themselves, they are feeding innumerable species in the soil, on the ground, birds, and because they all get their own food. They get their plants, healthy plants to graze on, and most importantly, in the end, because we are the most intelligent in the chain, we also get human health because we get top quality milk and best quality food. So it is very, very important to integrate cows with the land. So this is the need of the hour, and if you want to ensure a nice, sustainable, and simple lifestyle and a much more spiritual centric lifestyle for the humanity, we should make this change. So when you change the way you look at the things you look at change. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. If we have time, we can take some questions.
Yes, thank you, Vishnu Namdas. This is really interesting talk. In fact, modern science has found that beefeating is one of the very important reason for environmental pollution. And not only that, the commercial way of producing milk is a torture. Whereas in this presentation, you have interestingly shown that how Vedic way of cultivating cows can increase happiness of them as well as happiness of us, which is if we are producing the milk Vedic way, the excess amount without pressurizing them, if we are consuming, that is sustainable and it is spiritually connected and it can yield numerous health benefits. Thank you for that. And of course, now we have time. We can go for a few questions. Participants, please submit your questions in the chat box.
So this is how it is indicated, when the cows are happy. So they will be only happy when they are on the grazing fields with their family. There is no other way to make them happy. We cannot make them happy by feeding different things, feeding cattle feed, feeding them mineral supplement. That cannot make them happy. Yes, Professor Ram Babu Mukkamala. Or I think you can, Nandita, you can handle the questions. I will answer it. You can decide the sequence.
Yes. Professor Ram Babu, can you type your question? Or you can.
I'm not being allowed to do chatting. Okay, that is disabled to me.
Okay, please then you speak yourself.
Sir, good morning, sir. First of all, it is a wonderful presentation, sir.
Thank you.
Absolutely very informative and eye-opening presentation, sir. So my question is like what you suggest that the government should take steps in achieving these things, like particularly nowadays people are not having that much of knowledge, as you have quoted in the Vedas and all. People do not know about the importance of the cows and all, and they're so then what measures you would suggest the government, of India, to take in, so that we all can be the part of.
Yeah, very good question, sir. But as I have understood so far, no government in the world has succeeded because it needs a big paradigm shift. And as Mr. Ashokji, just a previous presenter, was talking, that the change has to come from the bottom. So the need of the hour is that people who have gathered today, if they have understood this, we have to start making this change. We have to be part of this change, and that will be resounded, will be implemented and accepted by more and more people. But if government level, if they need some change, we need certainly representation from the bottom. Without that, it looks very, very difficult because as of now, since this isn't going, since the time Krishna preached this, Krishna was practically demonstrating. He was not sitting in the house. Though being from a royal family, he was grazing the cows himself. And the very purpose of grazing was to feed the whole ecology. We thought that it is just a pastime, but it has a lot of scientific relevance in it. He was dictating a good lifestyle for devotees, for the humanity, for the entire community. But this is misunderstood. So we need to broadcast this. And a simple thing we can do is start from ourselves. So we ourselves should buy a land. We ourselves should shift on it. We ourselves should practice these principles because there is no waste in nature. When we are discussing, there is no waste. Everything that comes from Mother Earth, everything that comes from Mother Cow is all compostable, can be converted back into the soil. So we don't have to have any other mechanism. We are doubting the creator. If we are trying to innovate anything, we are doubting the creator actually. So it's and Krishna says Maya Dakshana Prakruti. So that principle has to be preached more and more. So we need more preachers, more presenters like this, so that it reaches to every single person of this country. That is what is needed. Thank you.
Thank you. We have the next question, Malini Devidasi. Malini ma'am, can you speak? Can you unmute and speak? Okay.
Nandita, there are several questions in chat actually. You can read questions.
Okay. Yes. So there is one. Hare Krishna, what can be the 4 to 5 major policy initiatives that can help to achieve regenerative, sustainable agricultural practices in a state like hill state like Uttarakhand?
Actually, sustainable practices, we have to follow the ecosystems. That is the most important thing. So as was discussed in the shloka, we have to I'm sorry. We need to.
Please carry on.
We need to harvest the sunlight. We need to harvest rain. We need to harvest air. So whatever comes from the nature need to be harvested by the landscapes. And once you start that, any land of the world can be regenerated, because our paradigm says that point number 3, the resources are available at the site. So it's not difficult where you are. It is a decision you take. If you decide to change your mindset, if you are clear what is the context of your life, if you can define a good context, then it is very, very easy to achieve what we are seeing here on this presentation. The need of the hour is to change our paradigms. We have to understand that whatever is available from the nature is enough to maintain this planet. So there is no scope for development actually. What we have to develop? Everything is already developed and given to us by the creator. So most important thing is to, as I said, connecting cows and land and connecting the calf and the cow. These two principles, following all ecosystem processes, and a change in the mindset is what is needed wherever you are. Thank you.
Yes, we have one more question. We can take one more question. Here's a question from Tanisha Dawan, and there are some other also ask the similar kind of question. How can we serve cow at our home, as nowadays there are no fields around us to let the cows graze?
So very good question. This is the most commonest question we receive in such presentations. But as I already discussed, it's a decision. If we have decided to stay in the current places where we are, then certainly there are no pasturing field for the cows. So, but historically, India was a
Vaishnav Das, is it possible to help some organization or some people who are already working in this direction?
I'm sorry?
Is it possible to help some organizations or individuals who are working to
Certainly, yes. This is our duty, being in the cow ministry of ISKCON. This is what we are doing. We are traveling. We are trying to help whatever we are sharing, whatever knowledge we have, and we are adding to our knowledge from people whatever we learn. So we are here to extend. This is what is holistic, working together in cooperation.
Yes, thank you so much. It was really enlightening talk.